Reggie Miller, part of the TNT crew with Kevin Harlan, Allie LaForce. Lakers, Bucks in Milwaukee, 8 Eastern on TNT. Good morning, Reg.
What a matchup doubleheader we have this Thursday. I am excited. I've been waiting for this for a few weeks. Yes, I wouldn't say we got the A game, though. We got the A game between the Lakers and the Bucks, but no slouch having Houston and the Clippers follow up. So a fantastic doubleheader.
How do you explain the Bucks losing at home to a Dallas team without Luka Doncic last night?
Well, that's why you can never take anyone for granted in this league. I think it was a misstep, an oversight. Probably looking ahead at home, no Luka, and having LeBron and Anthony Davis and the Lakers on your mind. You took them for granted. You thought at us playing at home, we would have enough to beat them even without Luka. And Porzingis, who has struggled all season, has played well in spots but not great, found that three-point stroke. And, I just think they overlooked them, and it happened.
All right, McLovin has a hot take on the Mavs. McLovin, you ready to give it to Reggie?
Yeah, so watching last night, the ball moved a lot more, and Porzingis was featured more without Luka Doncic in the game. Maybe he should handle the ball less. Maybe his usage numbers should go down to help everybody else.
This is why you're probably in the back row next to Todd. Absolutely not. That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard, McLovin.
We have a stat that he's 10-2 when he shoots less than 20 times and 7-6 when he shoots more than 20 times. And
Are you talking about
Luka Doncic?
Doncic?
Right.
We are talking about one of the faces of the NBA over the next 10 years. And the way the game is played today, you've got to have a ball-dominant either point guard, which I'm considering Luka is now since he plays point for them, and how he controls the game. He controls pace, style. He can shoot from deep. He sets everyone up on this team. If you took him off the ball, number one, who's going to handle it for the Mavs?
Jalen Brunson.
Who?
I think Jalen Brunson. Or Rick Brunson, not Jalen Brunson.
Really?
He was great last night. Well, name the ball-dominant point guard that's won a title, Reggie. Who's won the title with that formula? The Harden style. It hasn't happened. You have to pass the ball.
They pass the ball enough. They do. I think the ball has to be in Luka's hands. It does.
But the Warriors style and the Raptors last year, you got to move the ball around. This whole trend towards a one-on-one is alarming me as a purist.
As a basketball purist, I can see that, but they do have a flow offense. It just so happens the ball is in Luka's hands 80 to 90% of the time.
I like the ball in his hands. I know that you can look at the numbers there, McLovin, and think that they're a better team when he doesn't shoot as much. But you can still have the ball in his hands, and so he can still be ball dominant. But they could still, if he shoots a little less, they could be a little better. But I still want the ball in his hands.
Is McLovin comparing Doncic's game to Harden? Because I have a feeling that's what you're.
No, he is.
Absolutely not.
Tons of threes, gets to the line a million times a game, handles the ball all the time. What's not the same? Aren't they both in top 3 in three-point attempts and foul shots?
I don't think that they have the same game. And I think, in my opinion, Doncic is the more willing passer. I think Harden wants to score the basketball. That's his primary thing. And then when they triple team him, that's when he throws an alley-oop to Capella or finds those guys in the corner. I think Doncic looks to get other people involved.
We're talking to Reggie Miller, the Hall of Famer. He's got Bucks Lakers coming up on Thursday night. I was wondering about this last night, and that is, how many teams is it NBA Finals or bust? Lakers, Clippers, Bucks, anybody else?
Yes. Philly.
See, I don't think people are expecting. I know Philly has talent, but it feels like we cooled on them, whereas Milwaukee has been great, picked up where they left off. I don't know. I just figured there were 3 teams. If the Rockets don't make the finals, Mike D'Antoni may lose his job, but I don't know if it's NBA Finals are bust for any other teams but the Lakers, Clippers, and Bucks.
I don't think the Rockets will get to the NBA Finals. I don't think they're going to get through either of the LA teams. But the two LA teams, Milwaukee, Philly, who look, Milwaukee has, getting to the conference finals, having the best record, being up 2-0 versus Toronto last season in the conference finals, and then losing, definitely championship or bust. And I think Philly, after the disappointing, bang around the rim shot by Kawhi Leonard and Embiid crying, I think it's championship or bust. I think they're on the clock right now with those two guys and Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So those would probably be my championship or bust type teams.
Yeah, and, I start to look at, where the Lakers are, and this was brought up to me by somebody in the NBA. They're like, do you think that Kawhi is being selfish or selfless? And do you think LeBron is being selfish or selfless? So LeBron doesn't believe in load management. He wants to play, whereas Kawhi needs it, believes in load management, so he's ready for the playoffs. So could you see where somebody is being selfish or selfless in this situation?
I can make a case for both, Dan.
Okay. And that's the way I answered it.
Yeah, I can make a case for both because being in LeBron's situation, he's not wrong. And I agree with him 100%. If I'm healthy, if I'm 80%, I want to play because he's right about there could be a kid that has heard of me, that has saved, the parents have saved up money to come see me. I'm going to play. On the flip side, what's bigger? A championship, going deep in the playoffs, being ready for your team. So I see Kawhi's point. That's why you and I, about a month and a half ago, we were talking about who's better, LeBron, Kawhi, and I kept going Kawhi. I've cooled on that because you can't – you got to be able to play every game. Kawhi's not going to play every game.
And I'm glad you came around, just like I did with Anthony Davis, top 5.
I came around. You can't – you've got to be able to play under duress when you're tired, back-to-backs. That's just what it is. But on the flip side, I understand where he's coming from. I want to be ready come April 15th once the playoffs get going, when there's no back-to-backs. And remember, he played the most minutes of any player during the playoffs last year. Kawhi did. Why? People are going to go back to he only played 60 games during the regular season. So I see their point.
Did you see the story with Dion Waiters? That he was suspended by the Heat. He called in sick, and then he reportedly posted a picture of himself on a boat. And what's the worst excuse you ever heard from somebody missing a game?
Missing a game?
Or missing practice. You don't have to name any names.
Off the top of my head, I can't. That really takes the cake right there. That's so embarrassing, and what a lack of respect for the Heat organization, for Coach Spoelstra, for those guys. The Heat have turned the corner, I thought, and have been playing fantastic, and to do something like this is such a slap in the face.
And, this Heat team, I don't know if they can win the East, but they're really sneaky good.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah,
number one.
Yeah,
they jack up a bunch of threes. Tyler Hero, who I told you was going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, which he is. Duncan Robinson from Michigan, who can flat out shoot the basketball. And then you've got a bona fide closer in Jimmy Butler. You got Kendrick Nunn, who's also a rookie. Spoelstra has opened up the offense and kind of let these guys, expand it a little bit and run. So they're a fun team to watch. That's why it's a slap in the face. Who wouldn't want to play that style of basketball? I mean, so for Dion Waiters to do something like that, it is such a slap in the face to the rest of his teammates. Whatever beef you have with management, with Pat Riley, and that should be on them. But don't disrespect the game and disrespect your fellow teammate by doing acts like this. It's a slap in the face.
I don't know if you heard Shaq and Charles Barkley be critical of Joel Embiid. Embiid did say that he considered it constructive criticism. Even though he puts up unbelievable numbers, I always feel like he can do more. and maybe that's not fair to him, but I do expect. It feels like he could be great every single night. I think he's sporadically great.
He should be averaging 25 and 15 on a bad night.
But why isn't it happening?
Because I think he lets the defense off the hook way too much. I think he settles for threes when he doesn't have to. And he is so gifted and talented with his footwork and with his back to the basket. Yeah. He could get anywhere he wanted in the paint. And between his pump fakes and his footwork, on bad nights, he should be 28 and 16. On good nights, when they called him out, like versus Boston, and he went for 38 and I believe it was 13, that should be a nightly thing. Because the way they are playing big men today, when you can't really body and hold and arm bar, he's too big and too talented. And then when they do that, because he can face you up, I'm not telling him to shoot threes, but his 18 to 20-foot jump shot is pretty pure. So he can have most defenses on a yo-yo. And I think he just lets them off the hook by at times playing very passive. So I understand the call out by the two big fellas, because they're right. He should be the best player in the game with his skill set.
Better than everybody? You think he's got that much talent that he could be the best player?
He's not going to be like Giannis or Luka, because those guys can handle the basketball and go coast to coast and do a host of things, get triple-doubles, which I think he can. He's a great passer. But in terms of – see, the reason why I think this holds so close to Shaq was so dominant as a center. I mean, there was no question during his era he was the best player. And I think Shaq sees a lot of Joel in him, that he needs to put guys down. Shaq put guys down. I mean, guys, you talk about the blue flu, guys would call in sick not to play against Shaq. And that's why I think it holds close to Shaq, because he sees the potential in Joel.
You got the kids ready for Christmas there?
We are. We're getting close. We're getting Elf on the Shelf. Who thought of Elf on the Shelf, by the way? Was Elf on the Shelf around when you were a kid?
No.
It wasn't around when I was around.
No, we didn't have damn Elf on the Shelf.
We're doing Elf on the Shelf, and I'm trying to find, which I do know they have, like the game, the toy that I loved the most when I was growing up. Do you remember Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That was... I mean,
I love the sound of it when you.
Oh my God! Yes, and what's funny is 10-year-old Reggie. Like, we named, I believe the blue one was Muhammad Ali, and we made the red one either Ken Norton or George Foreman, and that's how we played. We would play that hours upon hours, right? Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Fast forward to this summer, we're on vacation in Hawaii. And we walk into Dave & Buster's. And I don't know the last time you've been into Dave & Buster's, which is has every video game imaginable. Yeah. They had a life-size, the size of my son, Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You're talking about a 50-year-old plus man died and gone to heaven. It was unbelievable. So, yeah, Rock'em Sock'em Robot. I'm trying to find that for my mini-me because I want to get them hooked.
I think that we have a Rock'em Sock'em Robot, but my man cave is so big that we've lost track of where the Rock'em Sock'em Robots are. So,
you've got to find that. I know. You've got to display it, because we all grew up with Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
What else did you grow up with? Like favorite Christmas toy?
Let me see. See, we were more of a game family. So when we got together, it was more like Clue, Monopoly, the arguments, the fights. That's what it was all about for us.
See, I love Risk, because I just love taking over a country, taking over the East, the Far East, the Middle East, Europe.
Yahtzee. See, this is how you get kids hooked on gambling. Yahtzee. I mean, there's no need for kids to be learning how to play Yahtzee and 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. That's why kids go to Vegas now. Right?
What was your first real pair of basketball shoes?
They were top 10 Adidas. Do you remember the top 10 Adidas? With the 3 stripes on the side? Top 10 Adidas. Look that up, Paulie.
I had the Converse.
Look that up, Paulie.
I got them.
Converse All-Star High Tops is what I had. The powder blue, North Carolina blue.
So you're a tad older than I am, Theodore.
Well, we couldn't have afforded Adidas.
Neither could we. We were on the government budget. We lived at the commissary, so we used to shop at the Air Force Base all the time. So that and Kmart, that's where we got most of our kicks from.
Did you have, and then you had a basketball, obviously. You got that.
We had a basketball. Pops made in the backyard. He put on all the cement himself, and it was, I don't know, maybe 10 by 12, and which got expanded because we started to shoot until we wore out that 10 by 12, and then it went to like 15 by 15, and we had the hoop, So
is that hoop still there?
It's still there in the backyard of Riverside, California.
No kidding.
I know. And this is other games that we would this is crazy how we think of things. It was called corkball. So we would get old corks, we would put athletic tape around it, and that would be your ball, and we would get old broom handles, break it off, saw it off, and that would be your bat, and that's how I learned to bat. And that's why I had great hand-eye coordination, because you're trying to hit the cork, which was the ball, and you would flick it under your middle finger and your thumb. That's how you held it, and you flicked it. When I come in to New York and to the studio, I'll show you how to play. And you could play 2-on-2 or 1-on-1, and that's what we would do for hours. Cheryl and I, Tammy and I, my brothers, that's how I learned how to play baseball, was playing corkball.
But I'm curious, though, at that time, like how important was basketball to you? Like did your parents – oh, it wasn't – like if I said you could have played – because your brother played baseball, were you any good at baseball?
That was my first love.
Yeah, that's
I wanted
what I
to be the next Gerard Carew. Yeah, basketball was the second that. I didn't really get into basketball until maybe my sophomore year.
Isn't that interesting? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar told me that. He always wanted to play first base. He wanted to play first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Like that was his goal. And then he said, I kept growing and,
That's it. That's the same story. I was 5'9" when I entered high school, and it was all about baseball. I loved the way cleats sounded when you walked on dirt. I mean, I was like obsessed. Rod Carew. I wanted to be the best hitter ever, and that was it. So when I got to high school, the coach was like, "You're going to pitch." I'm like, "Pitch? Pitching in Pachapa Little League is different from pitching on a high school mound." Like, I'm not going to pitch. He's like, "Oh, you're going to pitch." I'm like, "Well, I'm playing basketball. Thank you very much." And then I started to grow, and here I am talking to Theodore, 30 years later.
I think it worked out for you.
I think it did, too.
Yeah, I think so.
It paid well.
I think
but
so.
the way the contracts are now, I wanted that Anthony Rendon money. I would have been a pitcher if I could have been like Garrett Cole.
Well, wait a minute.
Now I see why he wanted me to pitch.
Look at these NBA numbers here, Reg. Come on. Alan
They're
Crabb.
not like those Major League Baseball numbers. And for less work, I could work every, 4 or 5 days?
Yep. He is going to work on Thursday night, though. It'll be Lakers-Bucks at 8 Eastern on TNT with Kevin Harlan and Allie LaForce. Does LeBron say anything to you prior to the game?
Yeah, we'll probably dap up.
That's
I'll
it.
tell him good luck, and that's it.
That's it.
And by the way, are we secure on Bronny Jr. being the 5th best LA after you saw that performance in Ohio? Is he the 5th best player in California?
He's not starting yet, but I'm the one that said LeBron stays in the NBA until Bronny gets there.
You know what? I'm on the bandwagon.
Okay, all right. Come
I'm
on in.
the bandwagon.
Come on in.
You're right.
Come on in.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Have fun on Thursday night in Milwaukee. You're not staying in the haunted hotel, are you?
Yes, we are. We're in the sister.
Did you believe in that?
Walk the halls. No, I do not believe in that.
Okay.
No.
It feels like one of your teammates may have believed in that.
Probably Mark.
Mark Jackson.
He's scared. Those New Yorkers are scared of everything, man.
Thank you, Reg. We'll be watching on Thursday night.
Happy holidays,
Thank you,
Theodore,
Reg. You
and
too.
my Danettes. I love you guys.
That's Reggie Aloysius Miller.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.